good morning or good afternoon. How are you guys doing out there today? Today we're going over 2.1 and BAAL'S coming out. So we're gonna arm you with the knowledge of what spears are the best ones for this character. It's all mathematically focused. Okay, so if you're a math nerd, join the Discord, come join the family, get with like-minded people, and there's gonna be a dedicated section where you can check out all of the different builds and stuff that have been compiled by us for BAAL already, and that's what this tier list is based on. Now there's gonna be some absolute banger Forester weapons and some death traps as well. So let's go. Let's just do it. And surprise, today we're also just using an actual tier list. So let's get right into it here. Randomized order. The first one is going to be the Blackcliff, and this is a very interesting weapon to talk about. The Blackcliff series of weapons are traditionally very good, but they live and die on the proc attack percent, and then you get up to 3 stacks of this. If you have an R5 one, you can buy it out of the Star Glitter shop. 72% attack. That is awesome. The thing about this weapon though is that it's either going to be hot trash or exceptionally good. Now if you're trying to main like a main DPS BAAL or something, it's going to be a very good weapon for her. However, if you're using her as your traditional sub DPS support, which is where she really shines, she's going to do a ton of damage in 7 seconds. Enough in that 7 seconds, if you really focus on that 7 seconds from her elemental burst, enough damage to actually just be like your main DPS in those 7 seconds. And the thing that makes this hot trash is, well, you need to kill people before you proc your burst to get the full effect from it, which means that you're not really doing a whole bunch of damage. So I'm gonna go a little bit in between the two, but I'm gonna wait a little bit more on the hot trash side, and I'll put it C tier. It's not absolute the worst of the worst, but it's really not the craziest weapon for her. Now alternatively, we have good old Deathmatch. Now the Deathmatch is a very good weapon for her because she is very greedy. She needs a little bit of energy recharge, a little bit of attack percent, crit chance, crit damage, all of that stuff. And the Deathmatch has crazy amounts of crit chance on it, and it gives you attack percent. So this is going to be a very good weapon for her, all things said and done. And you can place this A or S tier. It's honestly just that good. We're going to put it up in the S. I like the Deathmatch for her a ton. I know it's got very low base attack, but she is so stat hungry as a character. And the fact that this one has 2 stats, both pretty high as well, so she have to get some refinement ranks, maybe a battle pass Deathmatch main in the future. It's gonna be a fantastic weapon for her. Now we also then have the good old Dragon's Bane. Yeah, that thing is a hot trash. It's got elemental mastery, one of the only stats she does not care about, and then she's doing electro damage all of the time during her elemental burst. So yeah, you're never fitting the criteria for the for this weapon. You're not fitting that criteria, so it's totally bad. And on the same sort of scale here, we have a physical based weapon. No, we do electro damage. The vast majority of our damage, our E and all the damage during our Q and the initial hit in our Q is electro. So no physical damage weapon. You're absolutely terrible. Then we also have the Favonius Lance, right? I'm gonna get a lot of questions about this one. This one's also hot trash. I know, hear me out. Energy recharge, a good stat on her, but the Favonius Lance has good base attack, has energy recharge, and then like gives you energy back when you do stuff with her outs. When you crit, that doesn't matter that much because you're gonna have so much energy recharge. You don't need a little bit of extra particles. You're just gonna fill your stuff up. It's not that big of a deal there. So you're foregoing getting critical hit chance, attack percent, crit damage, all of the other stuff that you really need to fulfill. This weapon does not do anything for you, and it's literally, I think, the worst weapon out of all of her okay weapons, where you have one of my stats that I want, like the energy recharge weapons. It is the worst one. Doesn't have a damage buff, attack buff, crit damage buff, crit chance buff, nothing. Is absolutely terrible. And this is the new crafted weapon as well, the Key Tang. Yeah, it's for the same reasons as the Dragon's Bane. Absolute hot trash. We don't need elemental mastery. That's not happening. We don't need the bonus elemental skill damage. That's not happening. We don't need the whole like lose energy, gain energy thing. We don't care about that. Your building gonna have enough energy recharge. You don't need anything about this weapon. It is actually the most hot trash of hot trash. If I could just make it its own tier, like Key Tang Cross Spear probably should be its own tier. It is that bad. And we also have the good old Leeway weapon. So this one, a little interesting. It's mid tier. You can see we have no A's and no B's yet. It's about a B. How good this weapon is, if you have 3 other people from Leeway in there, awesome. Great, it's an A. But if you don't have that many, it could be hot trash. It depends on your team. So we're gonna put it in B. Maximum maybe A with triple Leeway. But if you don't have a whole ton, remember, you're gonna be using probably, Kujo Sara possibly in addition to Raiden Shogun in the same team. So that already means that you're using 2 people from Inazuma. So your other 2 people have to be from Leeway to even get this to 2 stacks. So this is going to be a mid-tier weapon at best for you there. Now we also have a weapon a lot of people are really excited for, the Primordial Jade Wing Spear, but I'm here to tell you this weapon is going to suffer the same sort of setbacks that the good old Blackcliff series does for this character, because she is selling as a sub DPS. So if you want to get the max stacks, get the damage bonus, all this cool stuff, you need to swap her in as your active character, attack, I don't know, 9-10 times to get max X, then proc your elemental burst, and then you'll have her ready to rock and roll. But you're spending a lot of extra time doing that. This is like the equivalent of, if you want a big Zhongli elemental burst, you have Zhongli elemental Jade Spear here, Primordial Jade Wing Spear, whatever it is. What is this thing? The Primordial Jade Wing Spear. Can you make something more difficult for me to remember? Maybe it's just me. I'm just gonna call it the Jade Wing Spear. But it's just like having Zhongli with this weapon. What are you gonna swap into Zhongli and melee your enemies to death over and over and over, and then finally use your elemental burst and then swap out? No, you want to swap in, pop it, and leave. Is it viable on her? Yeah, and it's very A tier. So A tier weapon, good to go there. Possibly up here if you are using her as a main DPS equivalent to the deathmatch, but most people aren't going to try to main DPS her, because main DPS means she's on the field 100% of the time, right? Or as much as possible, and that's just not gonna work out, boys. You just wait till you see my cracked support DPS ball where she's hitting for like 900 million damage in the elemental, and you're like, oh, I think I might go for that one there. All right, now we have the prototype Crescent. The prototype Crescent is actually fairly decent on her. It's not abysmal tier. It is in the mid tier section here. It's around B tier, A tier. Give it like a B plus tier. Throw it up there. It's got energy recharge on it, but the difference between like the Favonius that we put in hot trash in the prototype Crescent here, I do believe that's the name, Star Glitter. I think it's Star Glitter actually. Yeah, Star Glitter, is that it gives you some sort of damage bonuses for your skills, and that's gonna help out a little bit to bring it back up there. It's gonna outweigh, you know, a 0 stack of the good old Blackcliff weapon. So it's not the super best weapon in the world, but it is still very viable there. And then we have obviously, oh man, good old freaking Royal Spear. This is like I don't even know if you own a royal weapon on your account. You either didn't know what you were doing, you misclicked, or you were very misled and you got jebaited, because these weapons are terrible. They punish you for building one of the best stats in the game, which is crit rate. So avoid these weapons at all costs if you're a brand new player. No royal weapon is good. Don't buy it from the Star Glitter shop. Stop it. Just stop it and get some help. Now we also are going to have, thankfully I can say that this one's gonna be pretty good, the Skyward weapon. The Skyward weapon is very nice here. So it is going to give you some energy recharge, not a whole lot, like 30%. That's still pretty decent there. And then on hit, it's going to give you a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of attack speed, right? You attack a little bit faster, which is awesome. And then it's kind of that vacuum blade. We don't really care about the vacuum blade. The thing that makes this weapon good is it has a very high base attack, insanely high base attack, the highest in the game among. Energy recharge helps us out a little bit there. And the attack speed can help you get an extra hit or maybe an extra charge attack in during that 7-second godhood window of your elemental burst. And that's actually a pretty considerable amount of damage. It makes a very good weapon. Is it the best? No, that's why it's not in triple S tier. That's why it's in S tier, but it's still very good. Stapahoma is still good as well. It's right up there with all these other weapons because it is the ultimate stat stick. I know we're not focusing on HP, but this weapon gives you over 60% crit damage. A lot of a substat that is very good for a DPS character. You get a little bit of extra flat attack, like 120, 150 flat attack, because you're an Archon, you're a 5-star character, you have okay attack. If you happen to roll some okay artifacts that happen to have a little bit of HP percent in the substats, you'll be more happy. But you're really just using Homa just because it's just that strong of a weapon. You can throw it on there and be fine with it. All right, now we also have good old boom, my boy, the Vortex Vanquisher. And for the same reasons that the good old Jade Wing Spear is an A tier, this weapon is also an A tier. It has some on hit effects attached to it. It also has the effect that you need to have a Geo Shield attached to it, and so it's going to stay in A tier with the on-hit weapon. Now we have the last two weapons, which are the new weapons here, and let me tell you this. The catch here is going to be a free weapon that we're going to get from the event. You can R5 it for free, so it's going to be very powerful, and it is a fantastic weapon. It gives your elemental burst crit chance and elemental damage up for your elemental burst, and the entirety of her elemental burst, even the sword form, is counted as elemental burst damage. So you've guessed it, this is going to affect the entirety of your elemental burst, the initial damage and everything afterwards. Also has some energy recharge on it, so it's going to give you elemental burst damage, which affects everything. So just think of it as like electro damage. Gives you 12 crit rate, and it gives you energy recharge, which is going to go into your other stat. And then we have the engulfing lightning, and yeah, it's the triple S weapon. You guys have figured it out. Raiden Shogun was already a character that wanted to build energy recharge. It gave you more energy for your team. It would give you more electro damage for your character as well. Her best set's going to be the good old new set,